What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today I'm swatching the new 5th anniversary collection from Holo Taco, which is called Mixed Emotions. Now if you haven't heard of Holo Taco before, they are a nail polish brand created by YouTuber Cristine of Simply Nailogical, and all their polishes are 10-free, meaning they are free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. They're also vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients, and they're cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. So to celebrate their 5th anniversary, they just released this Mixed Emotions collection, which is actually 5 thermal color changing nail polishes, and they're all specialty finishes as well. I was really excited to see this from Holo Taco because this is the first time we are seeing thermal color changing polishes from them, and I was super curious to see how they would perform. Now, color changing nail polishes will change depending on the temperature. I always like to show it by dipping my nails into cold and hot water, so that's how I'm showing it for these swatches, but you don't need water specifically to make the color change. So yeah, let me show you the swatches, then we can dive into my thoughts on them, pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today it's the Orly Bonder base coat. I'm going to start off with the flaky finishes because that is what I was the most excited about when I first saw these. This first one is called Deeply Superficial, and this one is a jelly flaky color changing polish. So in its cold state, we've got this really deep, vibrant magenta color, and as it shifts into the warm state, it becomes this kind of sheer pinky shade that almost looks white, and within that we are absolutely packed with a bunch of iridescent flakies that give it a really beautiful opalescent look. I ended up doing 3 coats for coverage on this one just because in the warm state I knew that it was on the sheer side and I wanted to get as much coverage as possible in that state. So I actually really loved the way that it looked in 3 coats, and here we are trying out the color shift. So you can see on the left side I've got hot water, on the right side I've got cold water, even with a little ice cube in it, and you can see just how intense that color shift is and how quickly it even changes. It's very hot in my room, so you can see almost immediately after I've pulled my nail out of the cold water, it starts shifting back into that very light sheer pinky color, but it's a really beautiful one. I love the way that it looks in that sheer form, but I also really love the way that it looks in its dark pink form. So absolutely love this one. Can't get enough of those flakies. Up next, we've got Simply Chaotic, and I was especially excited for this one because I've been mentioning this a lot, but I've been really feeling the blue jelly flakies lately, and this is another one. I'm actually going to be doing a video comparison of a bunch of them very soon, so stay tuned for that. But this one's actually a little bit different. So in its very cold state, it's actually more of a purpley indigo kind of color, and then in its warm state it transforms into this beautiful teal, again packed with those iridescent flakies. And I have to say I was really impressed with the opacity on this one because in its warm state it actually gave me full coverage in 2 coats, which I think is pretty rare for a thermal because the warm state tends to be a more sheer kind of color. So definitely loved being able to do that one in 2 coats, but here we've got again the color shifting powers, and you can just see how when it transforms from that purpley shade into the teal, it almost turns a little bit blue in the meantime. It kind of reminds me of a trithermal. So I really love this one. I'm so impressed with both the warm state and the cool state, and I think it's just really fun to see that intense shift between 2 very intense colors. Moving on to the shimmers, we've got this one, Funny Feeling, and funny enough, this one in its cool state is actually the same color as Simply Chaotic in its warm state. So when it's cold, it starts off as this really beautiful teal kind of shade, and then as it gets warmer, it shifts into what they call a chartreuse yellow. To me, I feel like it looks a little bit more like a lime yellow kind of color. Like it definitely still has a little bit of that green going on in there. And then we have a little bit of shimmer as well as a subtle hollow sparkle running throughout. So this one I did do 3 coats for full coverage just because in that yellowish green color, it did have a little bit more sheerness, but I was really pleased with how it looked in 3 coats. And again, just a really fun color shift here, going from that teal into that lime shade. It definitely feels like such a summery kind of color. And for some reason, it's giving me a little bit of like a chlorinated pool vibe. And I really love that, but I could also see this being a very fun marine life kind of manicure. I think it's really fun to do color changing nail art with these types of the polishes. So I could see like seaweed changing color would be a really fun little detail for a nail art look with this. And again, just very sensitive to the color shift, so I was really impressed with that. And then we've got the shade Rage Bait. I will admit I'm a little bit conflicted about this one because on the one hand, I do love the color shift, but on the other hand, the formula on this one was a little bit different from the rest in my experience. So this one is another shimmer finish. It's got that slight hollow sparkle running throughout, and in its cold state, it's actually a really deep reddish toned pink, and then in its warm state, it shifts into this beautiful orangey golden yellow kind of color. But in that warm state, it was a lot more sheer than the other shades. I ended up doing 4 coats for full coverage, and I felt like I could still see a tiny bit of my visible nail line through it in real life. And because it is on the thicker side, those 4 coats did feel like a lot on my nail, so I wasn't too pleased with that. However, I do think that this color combo is so stunning. It reminds me of like a tequila sunrise or just a sunrise in general, honestly. I think it's just such a fun shift. And again, it almost reminds me of that tri-thermal because when it shifts from that pink into that golden yellow kind of color, you actually see a really beautiful orange as well. So I don't know about this one. I feel like I've been struggling with yellows this year for whatever reason. Either brands are not making them opaque enough or they are just not working opacity wise on me. But I do want to try to make this one work, so I'm going to try to wear it over a yellow base color just to see if that makes it more opaque. And last but not least, we have the shade Guilty Pleasure, another one I was super excited about because this one is a purple and I do happen to love purple nail polishes the most. So this one in its cold state is a really beautiful, deep, slightly dusty purple. And then when it shifts into its warm state, it's this really beautiful, dusty, rosy kind of color. Again, a little bit on the muted, dustier side, but it's such a beautiful color shift and it feels like such a perfect any time of year color, but it especially feels like springtime to me with that slight dustiness. And again, it has that gorgeous hollow sparkle running throughout. So another one I was really pleased with, and another one that I loved the opacity on because this one was 2 coats for coverage on me. I am wearing this one in the intro and outro of this video and I've been having so much fun with it so far. So here's a look at all of the shades together, and I think these are just such fun colors. I love the 2 different types of formulas we got. I especially love those flakies though. I think it's just so unique and I love how rich and vibrant those colors are. The shimmers were a little bit more on the dusty side, but I think they were still really vibrant, beautiful summer colors, and I just loved how sensitive the shift was with them. It's really fun to wear these types of polishes, and I do get this question a lot, so I may as well just say it now, but you can wear top coat over color changing nail polishes and it will not affect the thermal nature of the polish. I am wearing top coat with my polish right now and it is still changing color beautifully, so you don't have to worry about that. It will continue to change color while you have it on your nails, which is super fun, and it also helps the manicure last, of course. Now, I did feel, especially with the shimmer polishes, that the formula was a little bit on the thicker side, but I still managed to get a really nice smooth finish on them. So just something to keep in mind, but I really am overall very impressed with this collection. I love the colors, I love the finishes, and most of all, I love the color change. So let's talk about it a little bit more. So those are all the polishes, and overall, I really enjoyed them. I love the colors here. I love that they're specialty finishes, and I especially love those jellies that have the flakies in them. That is not a formula that I see often when it comes to color changing finishes. So I thought that was really exciting. And I also really appreciate the cold and warm states of all of these. I feel like sometimes they can be a little bit boring in their warm state, but these ended up being really fun. One thing I will say about the formula is that all of these are on the thicker side. Holo Taco in general does tend to have a thick formula, but I did find these to be slightly thinner. Holo Taco in general does have a thicker formula than average in my experience, but I did find these to be a little bit thicker than what I'm used to from them. So just something to keep in mind with application. And a quick note about thermal nail polishes that I like to mention in my reviews is that thermal nail polishes will not change color indefinitely. Eventually, they do settle permanently into one color. In my experience, it's usually settled permanently into the warm state. Now, obviously, this is a new formula from Holo Taco, so we don't know how long they're gonna last, but in my experience, they can last anywhere between 2 months and a year. So after a certain amount of time, the bottle will just be one color, and then when you apply it, it's just gonna stay that one color. And I really hope that these ones last last until at least winter time because that is my favorite time to wear thermal nail polishes. Right now it is very hot where I live, so I've been wearing one, but I've been pretty much permanently in the warm state unless I'm washing my hands in cold water. But I do find that in the winter time it's really fun because my fingers get very cold very easily, so I can see the shift around a lot. Even though I do have short nails, I can still see a pretty good color shift when it's not super hot out. But yeah, like I said, this is definitely a win for me. I love the collection. I love the colors. I love how sensitive the shift is as well. So even just sticking my hands in cold water, it immediately changed to the cold state, which I think is really impressive because some brands are a little bit more subtle with the color shift. So I think they did a really great job here. And I really hope they make more thermals because I think it's just a really fun type of finish. So now let's get into pricing and availability. All of these polishes come in the usual 12 milliliter bottle. They do feature a wide flat brush with a rounded tip, which I prefer for application. I think it makes it a little bit easier. And individually, they retail for $15 USD each on the Holo Taco website. And they also have the limited edition collector's box, which actually does change color. You can kind of see right here where my hand was. This comes with all 5 polishes. It also does have a little sticker set. They're not nail art stickers, they're just regular stickers. And this retails for $82 USD. But yeah, I'm so curious to hear everybody's thoughts. What do you think of this collection? Which color is your favorite? Are you planning on picking any of these up or have you already? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. And if you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Ken, Rosie, and Angel. I really appreciate your support and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Pookie Bear, and Pookie Bear wants to know, do you have any fun plans for the summer? I don't have anything planned. I'm not really a vacation person, so I haven't gone on that many vacations, and I don't have any plans to anytime soon. However, I do live in a pretty fun city, and it has been incredibly hot here, like beyond hot. It has steadily been above 115 degrees for the past week, but I think it is cooling down because it's been like 105-ish. I love that I'm saying that as if that's like a little chilly. But yes, I do live in a relatively fun place, so it being so hot out means it's just like perfect pool time all the time. So Ryan and I always love to jump in the pool after work. It's actually been just a little bit too hot to be out in the sun, but now that it's cooled down a little bit, I think we're probably gonna start jumping back in the pool after work every day. That's basically my summer plan. Honestly, it's just to enjoy the pool as much as possible. But yeah, if anybody has any fun summer plans, let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.